Hey Greg, thanks for taking the time. Would love to know what you thought about the match. How you guys managed the match, and was there any frustration in maybe not getting any offensive production out of this match?
Yeah, I mean, I thought, generally speaking, I thought we managed the game pretty well. I thought our possession play was pretty solid. We were able to move the ball around. We were able to get to 2/3 maybe of the field to good spots. Sometimes when we got into the final action, I felt like we rushed crosses or we rushed moments that weren't really great, and we didn't really give ourselves a chance to get numbers in the box in some of those, and we just those attacks just kind of died. And then I thought, in the grand scheme of the things, we also had the chances to win the game. I mean, Gabe has an incredible chance there at the end that I think he's got to finish, and he would probably tell you the same thing. Maya has a header. Dayon has one that's cut back that kind of the defender does a good job to get a piece of. Maya has the header. Maya has sort of a second phase corner that he's trying to get a piece of. There weren't a ton of really great clean chances, but we were in good spots. But to be fair, we were also kind of with our possession forcing them into a little bit of a lower block, and they had numbers in their half the field, and it became a bit of an exercise of breaking down what was a pretty tight group. But I thought we didn't concede many moments where we were in turnovers and these huge transitions. Having said that, I still feel like it's a little too easy to get into our half of the field, and then we're dealing with things kind of around the top of our box, and that's when we're getting really compact and we're managing stuff. But I feel like we've got to do a little bit more in the transition phases to really reconnect and take away the verticality of the game so that the opposition doesn't so quickly and sometimes easily just get to our half of the field. So some of that, again, is how we finish the attacks, and some of it's just our reactions and our ability to just reconnect a little bit faster. So, again, by and large, third game this week and 2 on the road all the way across to the Eastern Conference. I have to give the guys a lot of credit because I thought we controlled a lot of the match, even though we were doing some of that defensively a little lower. I thought we were in control of things. So it's it's a good point.
I was going to ask you. I think you sort of maybe answered a little bit. Maybe you can expand on it. The third game, the end of a road trip. How you think you guys managed this road trip, and how you think the team sort of handled traveling all those miles, and then if you could give us an update on Joseph Paintsville as well.
Yeah, I thought we managed the road trip pretty well. Again, I think midweek, first half, we looked a little sluggish and didn't look so good in parts there. I felt like we just were a little bit behind the pace of things. They had the weekend off, and we got to the weekend with having played, or we got to midweek having played on the weekend, and I felt like we were a little bit behind the pace. Having said that, we came out in the second half and got the lead, and I wish obviously I wish we would have closed that one out and dealt with the situation, because then we would have snagged 3 points. Nevertheless, we got back to this game, which is, again, just a lot of time in hotels and laying around and trying to keep guys busy. It's easy to sometimes on these trips to just feel like really lazy and lethargic, and I thought the guys came out with good energy. I thought the ball moved nicely. I thought we found nice solutions. So I think everyone who was called upon stepped up and did what they were asked to do over it, and I thought we managed things pretty well. I wish, the two things we let 2 points at home against RSL go, which is where we got to be getting our results, and then I'd love us to close out. Greedily, I'd love us to close out to Minnesota, because there wasn't a ton of time on the clock, and I wish we would have shut that one down. But so some points in there to go. But we've also played 8 or 9 games on the road so far, and 5 at home, and it's not the easiest to catch momentum when you're playing on the road so much. So now we turn around. I think we have 4 or 5 at home or something like that coming up. So this is a big phase for us to try to really build some momentum and always being in front of our fans and for being at home for this next stretch. Obviously, we got to go on the road once, but we got a stretch here where we can hopefully build some of that momentum and collect some points.
And Paintsville?
Oh, sorry. Joe has a slight hamstring strain. Don't know. It's not horrible. So it'll probably be a few weeks is where we're at right now. We'll see. It's going to see how how quickly he responds to certain things, but we'll see where he's at. But it's not big, but it's significant. It's tough on Joe because coming off of a season he was at, he's already played 44 or 45 games in this season. From starting in August with his club to where he is now, which is the end of the European season. And unfortunately, in that last kind of game, he took something. But so we knew we were trying to get him to June to give him some break, give him a rest, because we know that it's going to start accumulating. But so now he takes a forced rest, and it won't hurt him because he needs it, and he needs a break anyways, just to recharge as we go into the middle third and final third of the season.
Thanks, Greg. Drive safe.
Thanks.
Go ahead, Alex.
Hey Greg, thank you so much for your time. Just wanted to ask you just what you thought of Gabriel Peck today. Got to really feature on the right-hand side. I think we talked a few weeks ago about how, he doesn't really get him a lot of the ball. I just think he did tonight with those opportunities.
I thought he got a lot of the ball, and I thought he was in the best position to make a difference tonight in terms of opportunities, in terms of space to run. Their left back was really narrow, and it just gave Gabriel a real opportunity to kind of dive in behind him and try to create some problems, whether that's to finish or whether that was to get to crossing position. So I thought the opportunities for him were there to make a difference. I'd still like to see him to run without the ball a little bit more, to really build speed and angle his runs in towards the goal, because I think he'll have more opportunities on goal, especially in a night like tonight. And then he had one that came across the field that was really set up for him, and I know he's going to tell you he should finish that, and he should. And but he certainly, I felt of anybody, he had the position on the night to really make a difference. Just again based on where the space was and where the opportunities existed, and unfortunately he wasn't able to make that final sort of difference. But I thought it was a pretty solid performance. But I think we'll both say, he and I, that he could have made the difference in the game, and it could have been we could have gone home with the 3 points.
Yeah, and Novak Mitrovic with his first start of the season. Was there a reason to start him today specifically, and maybe what you thought of his performance?
It was pre-planned. It's a road trip, third game in the week, Eastern Conference. We don't, by courtesy of MLS, we don't have the Open Cup this season to be able to get our both of our keepers games, so we have to kind of manufacture some experience, because the kid's got a lot of talent, and we got to bring him along, and he's got to play in order to do some of that. So we look in the schedule. This was a clear one, an easy one to get him the opportunity. I thought, minus the concentration brain fart there at the end when he went to control the ball that rolled under his foot, I thought he had a very solid game. I thought his choices, they didn't have to deal with a ton of super high press, but I thought the choices in his build were very good. His distribution choices, I thought, were smart and good, and he made the saves that he needed to make. And there wasn't a ton of big, crazy saves that he had to make, but I thought he managed the box and managed all his situations well. So I thought it was a very, very solid night for him, and he deserved a shutout. So I'm happy for him.
Thanks, Greg. Safe travels back.
Thank you.
And we'll take one last question from Sophie. One question, please.
Hey Greg, from a tempo and control perspective, it seemed like you had total discipline across all units today. You didn't win, but from a cohesiveness point of view, I felt like it was one of your best displays of the season. Would you agree with that?
I would. I think from a control standpoint, I would say yes, I agree with it. I felt like our positional awareness was really good. Even though guys were doing a little bit of place changing and there were some rotations happening, I felt like we were in good spots. I thought our general discipline in terms of our choices and being solid in possessions, even though spaces were a little bit tight when we forced them into a lower block, I thought we were pretty responsible with the ball for the night, which really limited their chances of breaking out and trying to counter against us with the size and speed they had. We really minimized those. But I thought the collective awareness and positioning was really good, and that meant that there were solutions all over the field for us in the possession phase. But now the next key is just transitioning out of possession to create the attack to get the guys to where they need to be in the final action, and that was maybe a little bit that wasn't quite as sharp through the whole night, but it was. But again, we had a couple chances maybe there to win the game. But again, I agree with you. The one thing we worked on, or we just talked about at halftime, was getting Mickey to come inside and narrow up his position a little bit more. After we built the initial part of the attack, just getting him really inside so that, you know, when we needed to counter press, we closed up the middle of the field a little bit more, and he made the adjustment, and I thought we were more stable in that way as well. So yeah, I agree with the observation.
All right.
Thanks, Greg, and
Thank
safe
you.
travels.
All right, thanks everyone.
Thanks for your time, Greg.